Hello everybody, today is Thursday, February 20th, and I have another live trading video from Trader Jim. And in this video, Trader Jim let his son take over, who's only 16, and he did a fantastic job. So please watch the video and let us hear what you think about that. My initial thoughts is that this would be difficult for a 16-year-old to comprehend using this software with live money in the market. So I think he did a great job, and it's also testimony to Jim's methodology that he sticks to his plan. He plans his trade and trades his plan, and he transferred that information to his son today, and I just think it's fantastic. It's just absolutely wonderful. Just a few comments. This was the chart that I traded earlier, and I just wanted to talk about the 60 EMA. The market often pulls back to the 60 EMA. Really, almost on any time frame, you can plot this 60 EMA, and it's a good indicator for pullbacks. And you can kind of see it here. You can see it here. There was a lot of opportunities on this 150 tick Heikin-Ashi chart. Kind of like the Superenko 6. I think it's a little smoother, but you know, once again, pullbacks. Follow the direction of the moving average. A moving average typically lags, but when we're using such small time frames like 150 tick or a Superenko 6, these are really small time frames, so the lag on these averages is not that great. So again, these pullbacks here, and then being able to recognize the transitions. You might use something like the adaptive moving average, which I like very much. These are just the default settings here, and you can see that it gives a little bit earlier signal and tends to flatline when you get chop like this or this here. But again, above and below this, like look at these two signals back to back. That can be pretty good. Even if you waited for confirmation for it to fall below the 60 EMA, you had two really great trades back to back here, just like this. Anyway, let's take a look at Jim's video for today.
All right, February 20th. So along on a Superenko 6 here. This is pretty much the last stand, giving them a chance here to firm up on 97.15 to take us higher. If they do not firm up on 97.15, they're gonna sell off down to 96.60 and even possibly lower than that. I mean, over Globex last night, they were unable to reach the zone of 97.75. I think the high was somewhere in the lower 60s. That is a concerning event. For them to go that high and miss the zone very often is a very violent reaction to the opposite side. So I am not very comfortable with this trade. This kind of trade is still within my rules, but that's one of those lower probability trades. Definitely, if I can reach first target, I will put my stop at break even. The other thing is at 8:30 my time is unemployment claims report, and that is a news report that I cannot be in a trade in, or they will disqualify me. So I need to be flat by 8:29. So at any point when we're close to 8:29, if we're still not doing anything, or slightly up or slightly down, I'll just close this trade. All right, well, it's getting late. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to close half a position now. And the second half, I'm just going to put at break even. And in a few minutes, if nothing happens, I just close the whole position altogether. Obviously, I do not want to take a chance at getting disqualified. On top of that, I do have to leave soon. Well, I spoke with my son, who is going to be staying home today. Again, schools are closed all week for winter break in New York. So he said he's ready. I think he's ready. He's going to be trading the Super Renko 6. We sat down together and we came up with a plan. So one of two things. If they firm up on 97.15, we're going to be looking for pullbacks to buy. If they break down below 97.15, we're going to be waiting for retracements to sell. He will only be trading the Super Renko 6. I think this is, given the action over the past 10, 12 hours, it just seems the more appropriate thing to do. We've just been kind of going around this 97.15 zone without real commitment as of yet. Like I said, their inability to reach 97.75 by stopping in the lower 60s there, 62 or 63 or so, definitely it does not satisfy 75. So their inability to do so kind of gives me a bearish feeling, if you will. But we're not trading based on feeling, so we're going to wait for confirmation. I believe that prices will break below 97.15 and then try and retest it from underneath. He'll be ready for that with a Super Renko 6. If I am wrong, that's fine. If prices go above 97.15, then he'll be waiting for a retracement down to 97.15 and then take a long from there. So I wish him all the best. I'm gonna close this position out. It's getting too late and I gotta leave, and I'll be on the phone with them, and hopefully this all works out. All right, February 20th, 3:12, getting late, but I want to see if I can catch a long right off the zone of 95, 95. They stopped right at 9600, which of course is not unexpected. I want to see if I can catch a long here toward the end of the day on this Super Renko 6 with a $500 target. But to me, the story of the day is my 16-year-old son who traded two accounts with a Super Renko 6 and both hitting their targets. According to our plan, we sat down, we mapped out two possibilities, trading above 97.15, in which case wait for retracements to go long, or trading below 97.15, waiting for retracements into that zone to go short. I think he did an outstanding job, just waiting, being focused, being disciplined. Really very, very impressed with him. Both trades, he was the long. Both trades just picture perfect, waiting for price to come from underneath, testing 97.15, failing, and just he wrote both of them down beautifully. I really don't know what to say. I mean, at that age, to have this kind of focus and discipline and confidence, I mean, he told me, Dad, give me a chance, I can do this. And I mean, of course, I said yes. What am I going to say? I've seen him practicing on the same account. He is, so yeah, I mean, I thought he had the capability, but price action was so tricky over 12 hours before I left. This kind of a beginning of Globex and on, very tricky price action. So, but anyway, it just worked out great. I actually like the second trade even better than the first trade. The first trade, it is true that he waited for retracement, but the actual short was around 18, which is higher than 15, of course, and like a bit questionable, but fine. The second trade was right around 97.12, just a beautiful, beautiful trade to the downside below the zone. It's always very easy to criticize someone, to offer criticism or a critique, if you will, after the fact, right? So after the fact, you look back and said, oh, wait, this happened and that happened. But when trading, especially NASDAQ kind of trading, happens in real time, it's it's a lot trickier. Those of you who tried this know what I'm talking about, as I am underwater now a little bit. Do they really need to test the actual 95.95? I hope not, because my stop is right above it. So, but really, no matter what happens here, just so impressed with him. How about giving him some likes, guys? Maybe give him a couple of good comments. I mean, when I was 16, what was I doing? I was 7,000 miles away, kicking a soccer ball around. So, yeah, he's definitely it's a whole different ball game now. These kids today are sharp. Here we go. Okay, good. So, man, hopefully they don't need to test the actual zone. They can just take it higher now. Hitting some targets on the upside. There we go. Here they come. First target. Definitely setting my stop at break even. Not going to take any chance so late in the day. I think they should go higher now. If I drag over now the zones chart, maybe so we can watch both at the same time. Let's move this out of the way. So this is where we were in the morning since Globex. So all right, so here's what happened. You see this move toward the zone, not quite reaching it. To me, this was the first clue that a very violent reaction down might take place, because what happens is if price comes so close to the zone, not able to reach it, very often it will be repelled so strong that a very violent move the opposite way would take place. We've seen this, I've showed this, but the other way around, not being able to reach a zone on the bottom. If you remember this from a number of videos ago, those of you who follow every day definitely remember it. I said their inability to quite reach the zone underneath and just stop short resulted in this huge move up. Similarly, okay, oh, we've got a full target here now, so that's done. Let's, oops, what's that chart? Hold on. All right. So yeah, this one is done very quickly. I think the whole trade here was like 6 minutes long, maybe. Let's show the template once again. And then talk more about the zones. So, right, so overnight I was watching this during Globex. They're not able to reach it and move down sharply. So from this point, I still was not ready to take shorts, but I was suspicious. Once they began to form up, I said, well, maybe not. Maybe they just needed to come back, and now they're going to go toward the zone. But by the time it was time for me to leave, I really began to suspect that a very big move down will take place. In no way am I suggesting that I've seen this. I did think they would go down to 96.60. I did not see this whole move coming. This was a complete surprise. So the plan I left with my son was either wait for price to go above 97.15 and then wait for retracement to try and go long, or wait for price to go below 97.15 and then wait for retracement back into the zone to go short. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, he did this absolutely beautifully. So this, and it was not easy. From what I see now, this half-hour bar closes at 10 o'clock, which means this is the 9:30 to 10 o'clock. And I imagine, because it did go above the zone here. So, you know, however he played it perfectly. I mean, he saw the shorts and he took the shorts. So really just so impressed with him. I know I keep on saying this. I'm just really impressed that he was able to handle it. This was not easy here. This was tricky. And then, yeah, the sharp move down. You see how price goes right through a zone here? This only happens about 10% of the time. This is unusual. Right through. And then pretty much, again, there was no real retracement here, no kind of consolidation. Again, right through. Then just kind of works through the zone here a little bit of right around 95.30. Then comes right out of it, back to the zone above, consolidates here, and that's where I took the long upon them testing the 95, stopping right in 9600, which is not unexpected. Again, remember, my zones are not area of support and resistance. They're simply prices, areas that price is attracted to, but it doesn't have to be a support and resistance, right? Because then you can say, this is support over here, right? I'm sorry, this is resistance over here, right? This is support, this is resistance. Maybe somewhere here is support, and then the break of the support would result in all this. Zones are different. My zones are simply attract the price toward them. See, attract, overshoot, attract, overshoot, attract, and then this whole consolidation area here, and then a break. There was something else I really wanted to talk about. Let me bring up a chart. I think I've never brought this up before, but I do think it's important considering there was also a comment made that I think was a very important comment. Okay, here is the 500 tick open range filter chart, all right? Now, I thought I activated this chart before leaving on the short side. So as I'm on the phone with my chart, as I'm on the phone with my son in the morning, and I asked him, how is the open range filter doing? He said, well, it's not doing anything. I said, what do you mean? I stopped out? He said, no, it's not doing anything. Didn't I click shorts? Yes, you did. Why isn't it on? Well, I said, well, you forgot to actually activate the Autotrader. You see, even though I clicked short, I forgot to actually activate the Autotrader by clicking this button. And so the Autotrader did nothing. And of course, I missed out on an amazing move down from the open range filter. So why am I saying this? Very often I make mistakes,
And for the most part, I try to edit these mistakes out because I don't think anyone wants to watch mistakes. But, actually, I think, especially the way I do things, if you're going to trade multiple accounts, I think mistakes are inevitable. And this kind of mistakes, you can say, well, it didn't really cost you money, but in a way it did, because I missed out on this is a $500 target chart, right? So by me being silly in just forgetting to activate this, just an oversight, I missed out on a winning trade. Why am I saying this? It used to really bother me making mistakes, but I kind of resolved myself to the fact that if I'm going to continue to trade multiple accounts while being involved in another venture, while raising kids and everything else, mistakes are inevitable, and mistakes are simply part of doing business. That's all it is. Just like in my real estate, my office buildings, there's a management company, cleaning crew, right? Accountant, attorney, all this is part of doing business. It is the price of doing business, the cost of doing business. Well, in trading, the way I do it, making mistakes that cost me money is just the cost of doing business. A viewer, mentioned it from about, I think, 2 weeks ago. I was talking about going long on a 987 Hakinashi chart, and as I was talking about going long and price going up by at least 50 points, because the 987, as you know, I have a 50-point target, and I'm showing the trade that I think is long, and it turns out this was a short trade. Now, I very quickly realized it and flattened out, and I did have an actual 987 Hakinashi chart on a long that took a long trade. But in that case, so I tried to edit it out, and I guess I forgot to edit that part out. So I was talking going long as I am looking at a chart that took a short trade. So that cost me like $80 or $100, whatever it cost me, and that was a mistake. So I really try to no longer get upset and just realize this is the cost of doing business. If I'm going to trade multiple accounts, if I'm going to have all these charts going around while trying to record, while doing everything else, mistakes will happen. And I'll tell you, even before all this, when I was just trading manually, I would make mistakes. I would press buy when I wanted to sell. I would sell when I wanted to buy. I would try to scale out and instead close the whole position out. All kinds of stuff like that. I think it's inevitable to make mistakes in trading. Now, when I'm talking mistakes, I'm not talking about taking a trade that ends up being a losing trade. That in itself doesn't have to be a mistake unless you took the whole trade by mistake. If you meant to go short and you took a short trade and it didn't work out, that in itself is not a mistake. That's just trading. But wanting to go long and instead taking a short trade, which is what happened to me in that video from 2 weeks ago, that was a mistake. And that cost me money. And in the past, it used to really upset me. Because it's almost like careless, but it's careless and it's not careless. I'm trying my best to do so many things, and sometimes these kind of mistakes happen. So I always try to edit those mistakes out, but maybe I shouldn't. Again, let me know in the comments if mistakes is something you want to see. I can tell you that I make mistakes at least 3 times a week. At least 3 times a week, I just click the wrong button and just, and the opposite of what I want to happen happens. I've been editing those out thinking you really, you much rather see something that works than something that's just ridiculous. And, I guess mistakes are something that could be avoided if one is careful enough, and maybe I'm just not careful enough because I cannot avoid some of the mistakes that I make pretty much over and over again. Very often, it's the kind of mistake like today, just forgetting to click a silly button and missing out on the trade. Or a worst case, what happened 2 weeks ago, wanted to go long, instead took a short trade. And that's how it is. But anyway, just thought I wanted to bring it up. Would love to hear what you have to say about mistakes. You know, how do you handle mistakes? Do you make any mistakes? Maybe you're perfect and you're not making any mistakes. I hope that's the case. Anyway, please like the video. Please leave a comment. Interact with us in any way you can. It really helps the channel. Thank you, guys.